I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today, we're reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 27. So let's focus on verse 1. You are to construct an altar of acacia wood. Now, the rabbis of old, the Orthodox, non-Messianic, not believers in Jesus, the rabbis of old have explained the symbolism of the altar by forming an anagram to form letters of a Hebrew word, mitzvah. And since few of you read Hebrew, how about you just trust me on it? I'm going to give you the English translations. The word spells out these concepts. Forgiveness, is one of them. Sin separates us from God. We're speaking about the altar today. The altar was the channel whereby an Israelite could seek reconciliation with God. So at the altar, you get forgiveness. Also merit, you see, gratitude and humility and contrition found their outlet at the altar. So by approaching the Lord through the virtues, life was emboldened and merit was acquired. When you went before the Lord and you did exactly what He told you to do, then the Lord had favor on you. Blessing. So by remaining true to the teachings centered around the altar, man received the blessing of the Lord, and he then becomes a blessing to his fellow man. Life. The altar points the way to the life everlasting, and it directs one's worship to things that abide forever: righteousness, holiness, God's word. In order for men to perpetuate forgiveness and merit and blessing in life, it was necessary for them to sacrifice prescribed things at prescribed times and in a prescribed manner. But there's a problem, and here's the problem. The atonement would diminish over time. You see, you were only covered until the next time for the next sacrifice. So what's interesting to me is how these days, neither of the two tabernacle altars exists. You see, they were replaced by the altars that Solomon built for the temple. And those altars have been missing since the Romans destroyed the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD. So, how are a person's sins atoned for? How do we get all of those things today? Well, we receive forgiveness. We receive merit and blessing in life when we trust in Jesus, the Messiah. When we put our faith not in our atoning work, but in His atoning work on the cross on our behalf. So in this, we have the added bonus. His atoning sacrifice lasts forever. Consider Hebrews 13, verses 10 through 16. We have an altar from which those who serve the tabernacle do not have the right to eat. For the bodies of those animals whose blood is brought into the Holy of Holies by the high priests as a sin offering are burned outside the camp. Therefore, the Messiah also suffered outside the gate, so that He may sanctify the people by His own blood. Let us then go to Him outside the camp, bearing His disgrace. For here we do not have an enduring city. Instead, we seek the one to come, that is the New Jerusalem. You find it in Revelation chapter 21. Therefore, through Him, Jesus, let us continually offer up to God as a sacrifice of praise. That is the fruit of our lips that profess His name. Do not neglect to do good and to share, for God is pleased with such sacrifices. Think about these things. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at groundworksministries.com.